So, Iris, you are fully decked out. You're in as you put it, heels that are too tall to walk in comfortably. What does the rest of your outfit look like?
She really loves red. She looks really good in red, so it's probably a really, really tight-fitting ball gown style, but
Okay.
probably like off-the-shoulder sleeves, so it's shows off her breasts because she's got damn curves, though. They get her lots of attention. Yeah, pretty. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And is your goal to look human this evening? Because your humanity is still pretty high, you look kind of pale and a little unliving, but you're also an artist type, so you could kind of probably get away with it because maybe you're just on a lot of drugs. That said, you can also do
It's not really my brand.
Yeah, so if you want to look more human, you can rouse the blood to essentially force blood to pump through your veins to give you a pulse and kind of give you a bit less pallid a complexion.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Let's risk
So go ahead and roll rouse the blood. As you'll recall, that is 1 dice, and you're trying to get a 6 or above.
Success.
Excellent. So without getting hungrier, you manage to sort of get a bit more of a human look to you. Yeah, exactly. I think you do that like while your vampiric powers are feeding you, but human habits die hard.
Yeah, for those who can't see, she pinched her cheeks.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Yes. Right. Audio medium. We're back, baby. Excellent. So, with that, your Uber is kind of pulling up the way. I think between you and Emily, and you already did some searching earlier, the things you've read about Seth Hazlitt, think like if you crossed... he's literally just a Silicon Valley character from that show. It was like if you crossed Zuckerberg with someone with personality, like an Elon Musk. So young guy, like highly effective. He's worth a ton of money. Got a bit of that Zuckerberg air, but if he wasn't like an emotionless robot. So highly charismatic. It's how I imagine the guy who runs WeWork. Just a real fun tech bro. Does he wear Patagonia vests? You bet your fucking ass he wears Patagonia vests. But in terms of the things you've been able to ascertain about him, unfortunately, much like kind of most of these tech moguls, it's a lot of puff pieces where he's just kind of spouting good sounding but kind of useless nonsense. It's a lot of like, we believe in the power of people, and together if we connect enough people, we'll make the world a better place. And everyone's like, oh, that's really nice. Wait, what? So unfortunately, you don't really have much of an angle for him other than that. But that's kind of what you're able to ascertain as the Uber pulls up. As you kind of look out the windows, you see the kind of woods get denser and denser. And of course, as is true of a lot of places in kind of metropolitan Canada, to have this much green space around, this guy is fucking crazy loaded. So with that, you see the lights of the mansion kind of through the trees. And your thoughts drift briefly to your backup out in the woods somewhere. You're not exactly sure how much help they'll be, but it's kind of nice to know you've got people guarding your back. Meanwhile, crouched in said woods, not thinking about Iris, but instead thinking about how many goddamn bugs there are, is Ridley and Everett. Why don't you guys tell me kind of what your approach is? You pulled up in Everett's car kind of in the distance, and you're starting to make your way through the woods towards the mansion. Is your goal to keep, are we going full kind of Hitman style? We're going to try and keep her in sight through the windows? Or are you, what's your strategy for the woods?
I think that's a good starting point. I think there needs to be a conversation about what happens when we lose sight of her, and who goes in, who stays out. Do we both go in? Do we ditch the rifle? That kind of stuff. But as of right now, I think that's probably the good start is kind of like Overwatch and also maybe trying to spot people through the windows.
Okay, so what if I give you a phone and one of these fucking Bluetooths, he's got like the little earpiece Bluetooth things, the terrible ones that you get at like a gas station. He's like, you can put that in your ear and then I'll have one in my ear. And then if something goes bad and we got to go in or we got to split up, then we can fucking hear each other.
Yeah,
If you look at
good.
Ridley, he looks like an insane homeless person. Like, I imagine Everett can manage to look like a hunter, and Ridley just looks exactly like Ridley in a costume, and it's not great.
But you are wearing like your like suit underneath that, right? Because don't you typically wear?
No, he's switched over to hunting shit for this. He's all dressed up in camo. He's full.
So it wouldn't make sense to go in that way. No, okay.
No, he's like used car salesman on a hunting trip.
You did describe yourself a little bit as like Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like, I believe your term was bunk-ass Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine is played by Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Got it. Okay. All right, then. I'm also wearing camo, so I guess I wouldn't be... We're not going into this party, basically. Unless we want to make a big fucking mess. Okay.
I don't know. They fucking like hunters.
That's true. If there's a hunt tonight, we might actually fit in with the other guests that are taking part.
All right, so we can like infiltrate if there's a hunt. Otherwise, we look in the windows, keep track of Iris. Maybe she stays near the window. We really should have fucking talked to her about what to do inside before we let her drive away. But,
Good to get her in on this Bluetooth call, too.
Yeah, that would be great. But we didn't do it, so...
Well,
I don't
she
know.
doesn't
We
have
just...
one of those nifty headsets like you.
Yeah, what if we just... we'll keep watching, and then you and I can make a call if shit goes down?
Are you familiar with spotting, being a spotter, when it comes to shooting?
What?
Look, I've got the rifle, and I'll get tunnel vision, basically, as I look through the scope of this thing. So I'm going to need you to get a wider view of things and report to me and let me know which windows to aim into, to look at, and things like that. That's what a spotter does. Snipers are always teams of at least two, one with the gun and one as a spotter. Can you do that?
Well, I mean, sort of. Because if we're really far away, then you can see who's in the window, and I can just sort of see the fucking house.
That's what we need, though. We need small picture and big picture, you and me.
Okay, I've got a shotgun, and here's the house.
That's not going to be very useful until we get a lot closer.
Oh, yeah, well, I've also got this hunting rifle, but it don't got no scope, because it turns out the Bouchards are fucking insane. Okay,
I'll
I'll point.
To make do with what we got.
Let's go to the house. It's that one. And he just points to the house you can see through the woods.
Thanks, Ridley. You're doing a great job.
And sorry, I should also point out geographically, I mismarked down that this was near Mount Royal, which is in the center of Montreal, which is in the middle of a city. This is not. It's on the outskirts of town. The mountain's in a distance. Don't worry about it. Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's in Mount Lord. We're just going to make up places.
Yeah,
now.
fuck yeah. It's actually not a mount. It's just some woods nearby. But yes, anyway, just to be clear so that Quebec Twitter doesn't get at me. Great.
They love this show.
They do.
For its pure authenticity.
Every day they're like, thank God for you, blood and syrup. Je me souviens. All right, so you're having some trouble kind of like you're close enough to the house now that you can see the Uber pull up. It's going to be difficult. The front of the house, like it is like just a classy ass old manor house. Luckily, there are a lot of large windows on the first and second floor, facing kind of towards the road that's come in. Unfortunately, if they go so you'll be able to track her easily enough if she's kind of near the front of the house. If she goes any deeper in, it's going to be a bit more difficult. So that is likely where you'd lose sight. But you definitely have good view of the front. Ridley, you're on Overwatch. Is that correct?
Correct.
Great. So can you please go ahead and roll me? Let's go with. I'm gonna say let's go with wits and awareness, please.
Okay, wits. So
awareness. Wits or resolve and awareness. So it's
there it
either
is.
I'm going to keep
I
my
see it
eyes
now.
out for what's going on, which would be wits, or it's I'm going to make sure I don't miss anything because I know I'm bad at this and I'm scared.
I think that's it, is he knows he's not been trained to do this job, nor is he any good at hunting. Like, I think Ridley may have been invited to, like, a quarry to shoot a rifle before, but that's about it. All right, so...
Good old quarry shooting. Yeah, 50 Stone was just like, you got to shoot a rifle. I did it in Australia.
Okay, and I've got... 3 successes. 2 of them are 10s, but neither are on Hunger Days.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. So, you're not great at sort of like Overwatch if you're thinking of it in rifle terms, but back in the flat you shared with your mum, man, you guys had bad cockroach problems, and you got real good at seeing little cockroaches scurrying around everywhere. So you just kind of settle into a soft vision, and sure enough, you realize these blokes wandering around are just like tastier cockroaches that you can also splatter. So as soon as you fall into that mindset, you are hyper aware and able to track the targets well. It also helps that Iris is wearing a red dress that's like a very
Beacon.
I was gonna say, like, it's like Hitman vision, but you didn't need it. She's going full Schindler's List little girl and will be easy to spot. So that's good news for all involved.
What a reference to pull, Tom.
Hey man,
Sin City hooker at the beginning.
yeah, Schindler's List with that Sin City hooker at the beginning. I've never seen it.
this.
I assume that's how it goes. So you watch her get out of the car, and she's greeted by a butler. However, the butler is in like you can tell that he's wearing a tuxedo, but it's a tuxedo jacket, tuxedo shirt, but he seems to be in like skinny black jeans and is wearing like very expensive runners. And weirdly, Ridley, this reminds you a lot of 50 Stone and his crew, and just kind of like a lot of the kind of like gangs of London trying to seem rich and well-to-do, but really not having any idea. So oddly, like this kind of gives you a frame. You don't know rich people, but you do know attempting to seem rich while not really knowing what the fuck you're doing. And Everett, as for you, you're able to see very distinctly the butler. He's got spacers in his ears. His hair's back in a bun. And he's got kind of a long beard, and as Iris gets out of the car, he goes to offer her props. Iris, do you props the butler?
Awkwardly. I think she kind of like goes to shake his hand and then like
open hand. Oh.
and then awkwardly like makes a fist upside down. Just like it's confusing.
Yeah. And he's like, very cool. I've never seen anyone do it like that before. That's very neat. Welcome. What's your name, ma'am?
I'm Iris Dunn.
Iris. Oh, cool. The poet. Yeah. I've listened to your stuff on Audible. It's pretty good. It's cool. You got Scarlett Johansson to read it. That's pretty awesome.
Pretty good, huh? It's a glowing review.
Hey, I gave it 4 stars. It just got to be authentic.
Oh, okay, well, thank you, I guess.
And then he's like, right on. And he starts to lead you into the mansion. You kind of look over your shoulder. I think in some way there's some hope that you can see them in the woods being like, we got your back. But obviously you just see darkness. And then you're welcomed in. As soon as you step inside, you are just hit with a wave of very almost sickly sweet smoke that's just kind of drifting throughout the space. It's
Are they all vaping?
Oh, it's a tech party.
Ew.
Yeah, they're all vaping. So you smell kind of just a mix of kind of like
It's that cotton candy smell that some of them have to that vape, right?
100%. It's that mixed with the sort of sweet smell of hash. Because weed's too pedestrian for this crowd. So there's just a kind of ever-present smell that completely offsets the very kind of classic, almost Victorian building you're in. This is clearly a very old mansion.
I'm dressed for the wrong party.
Well, I mean, you see people very dressed up. You see people dressed down. There's a real mix going on. So there are people in like full gowns and tuxedos. You see a guy wearing like full like military formal wear. There's a guy in like a fancy dress kilt. So like no, there's all sorts. But then there are also people in like band T-shirts and that sort of thing. But the important thing is that you've noticed from all of them is that everyone wears it like they don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. And I think that ultimately is kind of what sets the tone for you of the entire event. Is it's not about showing off your wealth. It's just about being 100% confident in whatever it is you're wearing, in the way that only the mega wealthy can be. So you're brought in, and yeah, the place looks like it almost looks like if you've been to any of the museums that are like here in Toronto that are just preserved, like Campbell House or any of these things. It's like whatever this building was, someone has gone to great lengths to preserve as much of what that looked like inside as they can, while also adding modern amenities. So there's like Alexas everywhere, but they're next to like old silverware and like cabinets that are clearly like full of expensive china that are untouched. It's a very performative space. You get the sense that it's that classic new money problem, which is just like, I want to seem like I've always belonged, but I don't know how. To your eye, the place looks barely lived in. So you're brought in to kind of the central hallway. There's kind of a massive staircase. You can see most of the guests are kind of in a room to the left where the cocktail hour is happening. And the butler actually takes you into a side room that's like a study. So full bookshelves on the walls. There's like a globe with some brandy in it at a heavy desk. And he says, Mr. Hazlitt will be with you in a moment or two. Please make yourself at home. Grab a vape pen if you need it. We've got, canister refills. And he like opens a little silver box and there's just like a bunch of canisters in it. And he's like, and there is cocaine and hash in the top two drawers if you'd like to do. If you brought anything else with you, you're most welcome to imbibe. But we do ask that you don't harsh our buzz. So thank you very much. And he'll be with you in a moment. And then he kind of closes the door. So you're left alone in the study for a moment or two. You can see out the main window, back out the way you came. So if you want to try and like make your presence known, I think we'll just kind of say as a running, and you can determine whether this is something Iris would do or not. As a running theme, anytime you want to try and make yourself visible to them near a window, if you think that's something she would think of, I think it's like standing near the sill to give Ridley something to look for. That said, you weren't in on their conversation about spotting. So this is literally up to you as would Iris do this? What do you think?
I mean, I think she would go to the window to generally like take a look out because I don't think she trusts Ridley to be discreet. So I think she'd just be like looking out to make sure that they are hidden. Like if I can't see them, then they're doing it well.
Oh, okay. So weirdly, that actually helps them, but I like that. You're helping them even though you're trying to do a completely different thing.
Yeah.
You think they're incompetent. That's fun.
I just want to make sure that I can't see them because then no one else can.
It's not like Ridley standing in the lawn doing like spider movements, thinking he's invisible.
He's doing the Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park. He just has a flare in each hand. Like,
I'm here.
Yeah, they're his spotting flares. Okay.
So yeah, they're like, now you'll never see my fucking friend. Running around with flares.
Her name's Iris Dunn, you fucking
right.
dicks.
Get him. He's got a friend.
We should invite him in. He seems cooler than us. Sure enough, Ridley, you see Iris kind of peeking out the window. I'm literally just going to use left and right because it's easiest for my brain. If you're looking at the building, for point of reference, this really is kind of like almost a plantation house from like Red Dead. So just like a lot of windows, big covered porch, surrounded by trees. There is an open area between the trees of probably about 10 meters. No, that's way too long. 5 meters between the edge of the woods and the building. So you can't like just walk directly up through the woods. The sort of grounds have been carved out of the woods. And I think you guys are probably just a little bit back from that edge, so you can still see, but you still got good cover. And on the right side of the bottom right corner of the building is the window that you see Iris lean against. So, Ridley, how do you tell Everett this? What's your?
I just look at him and I'm like, she's in that fucking window, and I just point at it.
So, kind of defeating the purpose of like a spotter's like I have to like take my eye off the scope, look at his finger, look at where he's looking, and then adjust my sight.
I'm fucking nailing it.
And sort of like after like rolling his eyes and adjusting and finding Iris, Everett will say like,
Good. That's real good, Ridley. But let's try upper floor window, ground floor window. Second from the right, that kind of thing.
Okay, well, I'm going to need a minute to count all the fucking windows. And I start counting them all so I know how many it is over from the right.
I've just got in my
On the
Bluetooth
various
here, just
floors.
like 1, 2, fucking 3, 4.
Yeah, okay,
It's
so
like,
there's 36 windows across from the right. And then if you go up, there's 5 floors. So what I'm saying is ground floor, fucking window 1.
Great, that's perfect. We'll keep using that system.
Everett, do you see Iris through your scope?
if in fact it is the first floor, or rather, sorry, was it the first window on the? I don't even remember now what floor you said.
You said ground floor, first
Ground floor,
window.
first window. Yeah. If
So it
she is, in
depends. Do you
fact-
read right to left or left to right?
Well, no, I said from the right. So.
Oh, okay. So then you're good. Yep.
Yeah.
So sure enough, you see Iris looking out the window with a very like patrician curl to her lip. She's thinking about vape pens, but you don't know that. All right. So yeah, you've got that. Ridley, you rolled real good on your perception. You rolled a critical success. Wasn't a messy success. It was just a regular successy.
Yeah, successy.
Yeah. Successy. That's what they say at the end of every episode of Succession. Anyway, you think you can hear some movement kind of in the woods at distance. It doesn't sound like you can't determine whether it's someone moving through the woods, if it's just an animal. You are also in the woods at night, so, there be stuff in the woods. But you hear it's kind of off to your left, a bit of a distance away, but you do hear movement.
Everett, I'm hearing some fucking shit in the woods. Should I go check it out, or should I move back so I can cover you with the shotgun? So they don't find us both at once if it's people or like a fucking bear or whatever.
We should try to avoid firing our guns, or else the whole damn party's gonna know we're out here.
So then why did we bring the fucking guns? We could have just come out here to punch.
As a last resort, Ridley, go check it out. Try not to shoot anyone, and quietly deal with the situation. Or, even better, go unnoticed, come back here. Or,
I keep forgetting we have Bluetooth.
Well, I'm right beside you, so
Yeah.
you don't need a
Or-
fucking Bluetooth right now.
even better, go out there, see what's going on, and tell me over the phone what you see.
All right,
See,
so
that way we can remain unnoticed and we have intel.
I just want to be clear. And he just points at his, mini fridge body, and he's like, I'm supposed to be the sneaky one who talks
You wanna-
quiet and doesn't get fucking seen or heard.
Well, do you want to hold the rifle and stay here? I'll go check it out.
I don't fucking know how to do that either, so I don't know. You keep her safe, and I'll go probably get fucking kidnapped. And really, he'll just kind of try to stealthily clump away, which he is not good at.
Yeah, the good old stealth clomp is really my favorite maneuver available in this game. So Ryan, go ahead, roll me, please, a stealth plus. I mean, do you
Dexterity?
think yeah, I'd take dexterity, or I would take wits. Dexterity being I'm going to try and move through this by dodging out of the way of things. Wits is more I think if I put my foot here.
Honestly, they're the same score, and I have 0 in stealth. So I think he's just going to try to dodge through the various plants along the way.
Okay.
That is 1 success.
Perfect.
Okay.
Slow and
Less
steady.
than perfect.
I mean, the difficulty check was not 1. All of the difficulty checks are not 1. That would make for a very boring game. Okay, cool. So, Ridley, you start trying to dodge your way through the trees as best you can. Everett, you hear a cacophony of thwacking sticks and twigs and
my God.
just a string of proper Cockney profanity that always starts loud and gets quiet as he remembers he's being stealthy. Like, fuck you. God.
You fucking numpty.
Yeah.
Slap at a tree.
Yeah,
move
you're
along.
just full Home Alone Pesci at this point.
Yeah, the footsteps are so quiet, though. That's the thing.
Honestly-
it's the talking and the hitting that he's struggling with.
It's pride. Pride stopped you from being stealthy. Okay, wicked. So meanwhile, Iris, is there anything you want to investigate in this study before Seth shows up?
Did you say there was a alcohol cart in there?
There is. There's a
Okay.
globe that has been opened to reveal brandy.
Okay, so I'd probably pour myself a brandy so that I can. I always find that if you have a drink in your hand, you automatically look comfortable to everybody else. So I want to pour myself a brandy. Not that I'm going to drink much of it, but it's just kind of just show that I've done something in the room to make myself comfortable, and then like wander around, just kind of taking in and looking at what they might have displayed or places that might have things of importance for me to
Sure.
gander at.
Can you please then go ahead and roll me? We'll do. Let's call this investigation. Take investigation or awareness. Awareness, if like investigation, if you're specifically like looking at the names of books and checking drawers. Awareness, if you're just going to kind of like walk the room and try and get inspired.
I'd probably do investigation.
Okay, so let's go investigation and intelligence, please.
Oh, you picked the right one, my friend.
That's good. I don't have anyone's sheets in front of me anymore, so we're just shooting blind. Means it'll actually be fair. Well, Ridley, maybe you could use stealth and brawl for your for stealth because you're punching the trees as you go.
It sounds like that's kind of what he did.
Punch the noise.
That's the problem. I'm punching trees, but I'm not punching the noise.
Yeah, that is an issue.
Should have used wits.
So I have three successes. One of them is a 10, but I also got a 1 on my hunger die.
I think you're fine because you passed the check.
Okay.
I think you're safe. I think it's more than one.
You need to
right?
fail with the hunger die for it to count as a bad thing for you. So
Okay.
because you rolled a bunch of successes, you're fine. And sorry, Miles, one more time. How many successes was that in total?
3.
3? Okay, great. So you kind of take a look. The study, unlike the other spots in the room, in the building you've seen so far, actually does feel very lived in. And you can tell that because the nature of the books on the shelves are very, very different from kind of everything else you've seen. This is clearly where Seth spends most of his time. There's just like a stunningly beautiful, like top of the line Mac on his table. You can see he's got like a three monitor rig, which is weird in like what's otherwise a very stately wooden room. There's just kind of a massive amount of technology at the desk. Nice big wingback chair. And the books range from everything from, he's got graphic novels, he's got thrillers, he's got a lot of nonfiction. It's basically like if you went to Indigo and like looked at their like business and leadership section, he's got that section. But they all look red, or at least the first third. The first third of all these, like all the spines are broken to the third. There's like sticky notes sticking out of them, but you get the sense his attention span seems kind of short. None of these look that well lived in. He's got an incredible cooking section. He's got kind of all the major celebrity chefs' books. You're pleasantly surprised to find your own books, which I believe we'd named. It was flower related, came up in your episode. But anyway, regardless, your first book is there. It's clearly a first edition. It's hanging out. And then, true to his word, you find a bunch of drugs in the drawers of the desk, but they're arranged in a fancy way. Like, it's not just like a drawer full of loose cocaine.
It's like a charcuterie of drugs.
Yes, exactly. But almost done up in a way that, you could quickly serve it to someone. Like the lines of coke are on little Scrabble trays, so that they're just like nice and easy to imbibe. And the hash seems to be in pre-packed little pouches for a pipe, and then there's a bunch of joints. The brandy, from your memory of boozing, smells very, very good. It's in a decanter, so you can't really tell what the brand is. But yeah, everything here suggests that Seth takes very good care of his guests.
Okay. Cool.
And with that, the door opens and the man himself walks in. He is wearing a, you're pretty sure you saw it on the cover of GQ last month, suit. So very, very tight to his body. But he's a thin guy. Got a bit of a runner's build. He's wearing toe shoes that kind of offset the suit.
The eye roll from Tyler.
Yeah. That's going to be a big problem for me to not shoot him right away.
Luckily, you won't be able to see his feet through the window, so he's safe from Everett for now.
Tom describes how he's walking, because that'll be the deciding factor.
He's walking on his hands.
Yeah. Well, he just cartwheels in. Yeah. He's got a bit of the Gary Oldman haircut from Fifth Element, so completely buzzed on both sides, big swooping bangs.
Ew.
Seth Hazlitt, Emmanuel Zorg.
Yeah, tomato. And he's got a legitimately winning grin on his face. He's just one of those people who, when they smile, it seems like it's just for you. And he's got just a small, remarkably tasteful compared to a lot of the things in this building, stud in his under his lip. Through just one of those ones that you kind of like the chin, like where a goatee would be. Mm-hmm. That he's got. He walks in and he just pauses in the door frame, and he just says, "Iris Dunn, as I live and breathe." That's a phrase I've been trying out. I'm not sure if it makes me more endearing or just makes me sound like an asshole, but fuck it, it's a party. Welcome.
Hi, Seth. The catchphrase isn't bad, but I think you could do better.
Well, you are the writer. Please, come in. Cocaine? Hash?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Did you get refills for your vape pen?
I don't vape.
Oh, wow. Very fancy. Old-fashioned. I like it. I dig it. All right, cool. Very cool. Well, come in, please. Please have a seat. And he gestures to one of the chairs in front of the desk, and he actually takes the other one. He doesn't sit behind the desk. He just kind of turns it. And they're unlike a lot of offices that are built to make the people visiting uncomfortable. These are very nice kind of low-sitting chairs. He says, "I see you found the Globe brandy."
I did, yes.
How is it to your taste?
Oh, it's delicious.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm trying this thing where every time I want a new drink, I just close the Globe and then I spin it and then I put my finger on it. And wherever the finger lands, that's the booze that goes in the Globe next, So, I hit America, so
well,
it's the third or fourth time. Yeah,
it's not the classiest of alcohol, but yeah, delicious.
You should have seen the one time it was tequila. It was a bad scene for all involved.
Oh, honey,
yeah,
no.
That's how I ended up with this haircut. Anyway, when in the woods outside Montreal, am I right? So Iris, I want to thank you for finally. I was worried when we didn't hear back from any of our invitations to the society that it maybe wasn't something you were interested in, which is totally fair. It's really not for everyone. But I was thrilled when your Emily reached out to my Greg earlier today that you want to come join us. Can I ask what changed your mind?
Well, I've just been going through a weird period of my life and looking for something new and exciting, and I just needed to kick myself out of old habits, and I'm intrigued by what you have going on here.
Oh man, I was gonna make you roll, but that's pretty good reasoning. So he nods, and you can actually see his shoulders relax a little bit. You didn't realize he was holding tension in his body, but he clearly seems a little more at ease now that you've given him that. He's like, I understand entirely. When I was going through my last round of funding for Gimme, I needed a change too, and that's how I actually got involved with these guys, and rose through the ranks pretty quickly. But yeah, that's good. It sounds like you've come to us with the right mindset. Now, remember in my emails, I did mention that you'll need to keep a bit of an open mind. This really it's a life-changing experience, and this is going to sound like a multi-level marketing scheme, but trust me, that's Jim. That's Jim's racket. Don't talk to Jim. He's going to try and upsell you. Don't talk to Jim.
Okay.
But this is a life-changing experience, and I really think it's worth it. It's turned my life around. It's turned around so many lives of members of the society. But it does require you to keep a tremendously open mind. And the guarantee I need from you is that no matter what you see here tonight, that you keep an open mind and think about how this can improve you and can improve the world, and how the positive energy you gain from an evening like tonight can be carried out and all the good it can do, and how much stronger and more powerful you'll be as a result. Can you do that for me, Iris?
Yeah, I think I can, but you're making this sound real skull and crossbonesy. Everything's on the up and up here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're an enlightened group, and with enlightenment comes new ways of thinking. I
get that, Seth, but you gotta let me in a little bit on what's going on if I'm gonna be able to commit to this.
Well, it involves faith, and I'm not talking like big man in the clouds faith, just faith in those around you, those who inspire you, and that's part of the reason I wanted you to join, because you inspired me. I've got copies of your books. I can't remember the names right now, but I have them, and I know you inspire a lot of people. So I'm happy to tell you things, but there is, cost is kind of the wrong term, but there is a cost that we require of everyone joining the society, because as you know, for people like us who are always in the spotlight, it's so easy for the lesser minds of the world to envy those who are finding enlightenment and try and destroy them. So what we ask for everyone joining the Ludum Gravissima Society is a piece of assurance. And as your sponsor, it'll be up to me to keep it. Now, I know, being a poet, you probably don't know much about kind of a person who made you and, person who's been made kind of thing. It's like those vampire movies. It's like I'm the guy who turned you into a vampire, so you have to listen to me and stuff. I'm your sponsor, so I'm responsible for you. What that means is that you need to give me an assurance in case, you... And I'm not saying you would do this, but some people have in past, lose your resolve and decide to choose darkness over enlightenment. We need to make sure that we're safe as well. So everyone has to provide a piece of, for lack of a better term, blackmail material, an assurance that if you are to attempt to go back to the lesser ways, that we have something to keep ourselves safe. So we've had everything from sealed police records. We have very, very compromising photos from a couple of politicians. It's up to you what you choose to give, but we do need to agree that it is a worthwhile trade. And then I will keep that safe. No one else in the society will see it. But if you do cross us, it will be made public. But of course, this is just it's like the terms and conditions on signing up for any service, right? Right? You just click the box. And I know you seem like a good person. I can't imagine that you, a poet who has enlightened so many, would ever choose darkness over enlightenment.
But without being told what it is and what I'm doing, how am I certain that this isn't the darkness?
Iris.
Seth.
I'm Seth Hazlitt,
yeah,
founder
and
of Gimme.
And Lovey.
I make dreams come true.
I don't know you.
He nods. He says, "Okay, well, fair enough." Iris, we have found that this world is a bit tough. It's a bit dark. It's like a world of darkness, if you will. And it's up to people like me and hopefully you and the other people here tonight to bring light to this world, to inspire people. And to do that, we need vitality and energy and excitement. So we come out here to unwind and to recharge and to make sure that we have enough in our personal tanks that we're able to keep things going for everyone else. So that's what we're here to do, and that's all we're doing. And yes, our means of doing that are somewhat unorthodox, but I assure you, once you've experienced them, you'll understand what we're trying to do.
But you're still giving me vagaries.
I understand. I can't give you many more details without you giving me the assurance. That said, if you want to come meet some of the other people, we're having cocktail hour right now. The main event won't kick off for about another 20 minutes, so you can meet some people. You can kind of get a sense of the vibe, but without an assurance, you will be asked to leave after cocktail hour is complete. Even then, there may be consequences. But I'm sure you'll sign. Why wouldn't you sign?
Consequences, huh?
Iris, I was very clear that this is a big step and this is an important thing. And I assumed you were an important person. Because important people, they tend to rise to the top, whereas unimportant people tend to just slip through the cracks. I mean, it's like Little Red Riding Hood, right? And he kind of gestures to your dress. He's like, who knows what happens in the woods?
Seth?
Iris?
Is that a threat?
No, not at all. I was merely referencing a literary classic. So please, take a few minutes to think about it. Feel free to come join us in the Great Hall. Guillermo will bring you over if you'd like to join us. Otherwise, feel free to take as much of the complimentary cocaine as you'd like and be on your way.
Great, I'll think on it.
So he stands, smiles, walks to the door, then he turns back around one more time and he says, Iris, I know you've lost your way. I know the current administration has been slightly less willing to fund poets, and I know you lost out on that prize you were after. That all stings pretty bad. I was like you once, and the LGS saved me. I'm pretty sure we can save you too. If not, I guess there's always the discount bin, right? And then he walks back out into the cocktail party. So Everett and Ridley. Everett, you've watched this guy come in, talk to her for a bit, and leave. How twitchy are you getting about having to? I guess you're used to stakeout, so is this just kind of like business as usual?
I wouldn't say it's business as usual because I've got a long gun in my hand and I'm aiming it at people through windows. But there are some similar elements in the sense that I am watching, we'll say, an asset from afar, in this case, Iris Dunn. And any kind of interesting interactions I would feel inclined to follow up on. So I think if Seth starts to walk away, I would follow him kind of window to window through the scope. I'd be paying close attention to what their conversation looked like, I guess gesture-wise and things like that. But once they broke off, I would also want to check in on the Bluetooth with Ridley for an update because it's been quiet. Which is good because Ridley was not quiet in the leaving, but now it's quiet. So hopefully he kind of found a good stealthy pace. Yeah. So
Ridley, you found shit all. You stumbled through the woods for a bit. You've gone in different directions, but you're a city guy. You're not a forest guy. You're no bunk ass Wolverine. So you're now just kind of standing deeper in the woods. You haven't found any evidence of anything. You're looking around in frustration. You're at this point, you can see kind of the side of the mansion, and behind it you can see there seem to almost be some stables, and there seems to be kind of like a grounds house for kind of lawn upkeep, that sort of thing. And you can see there are a bunch of people kind of milling about the stables. They seem to be getting some stuff ready. They're just moving boxes and talking to each other. You can see the occasional glint of a drink in hand. But you can't see inside the stables. Obviously, they're closed, but you can see people prepping stuff.
All right, then I imagine he's doing that like awkward Jason Bourne finger to the ear thing that is unnecessary, knowing the Bluetooth is already there, but that's just who Ridley is. And he's just, okay, so I don't know what the fuck was over here. I can see round the back of the house, and there's a bunch of people moving boxes in and out of some sort of fucking stable, horse house, farm. I don't know what the fuck they've got. It's like a groundskeeper's cottage. Should I come back? Should I stay here? Should I go try to break into the groundskeepers and be like, tell me what the fuck is going on?
No, I think that's enough. If you didn't spot anything in the bush, then you better come back before anyone notices you.
All right, I guess I'll fucking do that then. Turn around and try to awkwardly stealth back.
Okay, so you start kind of trundling back through, having mentally marked where the stables are. The stable / farm / I don't know fucking thingy, you make your way back to Everett. Everett, you're scoping Iris, who seems to be sort of deep in thought. Iris, what are you doing in the study? You have a decision to make in terms of this. You know that shady shit is definitely afoot. It's going to be hard to gain any additional intel without signing onto this, but there is always the option to storm the grounds. So what are you thinking?
I mean, my instinct is to sign on with something that might seem valuable to them, but is actually something that is either not really, like it's a lie, or it's something pretty unimportant to me, but I can't think of anything what that might be. But I mean,
let's see. Well, what would destroy Iris's reputation as a poet?
probably Iggy, but I'm not going to do that.
I mean, that's a pretty good one. Here's a kind of dumb, gross one that I think would work. The other thing is, of course, you can offer him things that already exist, or you can do something at this party that would wreck your reputation. So
It's a lot of drugs.
there's a lot of drugs, but if you think about what like legitimately derails like feminist poets, if you were like on camera hiling, that'd be pretty bad. Like if there was something like that,
covered in
Jesus.
cocaine and trash talking women.
yeah, like if you think about what has literally undone, like it's super gross. I hate talking about this shit, but
Yeah.
like if you think about what would legitimately undo you, because and the thing is, it's whatever Iris thinks would undo her, right? Like, obviously, I'm borrowing a bit of this from like actual cults, and like it can be something as simple as like if you personally are convinced that naked photos of you would destroy you, then like that could be enough. With Iris, I don't think that tracks.
No.
But something like her doing something in violent opposition to what she.
But here's the thing: would they think that naked photos would do that? Because then I'd definitely give them those. Like, can I make them believe that would do it?
You can try. Actually, I would say you can try and convince them. Yeah. The one. It would definitely be a role. You could probably use your talent, like your disciplines, to do it. Mm-hmm. The disadvantage you'd be facing is as an outspoken feminist poet. You've talked pretty freely about your body a bunch. Like I imagine you've kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine that you have done roughly what the lady who plays Tahani has done. Like you've been pretty open, particularly since your books deal a lot with like deep-seated emotion. I imagine you've been pretty open about like, yeah, this is my body. I'm comfortable in it. This is how it works. Mm-hmm. In which case it will be harder to convince them, because it's kind of like someone who said, it'd be like if Lady Gaga was like, here's naked photos of me, and everyone's like, you posted a video of yourself doing naked yoga because you don't care. And she's like, oh, but I care for this. So you could definitely try it, but there will be slight disadvantage.
I was gonna say, or you could give him your money, or access to your money, because he knows you care about that.
That's true.
Yeah, you could tell him Emily's in the hospital.
Yep, you could give him dirt on Emily.
Emily,
You could also...
she already lost an arm.
You could also cop to the murder of Gordon Stevenson.
I I know where Gordon Stevenson is.
Yeah, I could give him that.
Because, like,
You know
he
where
was
the
last
body's
seen
buried?
arguing with you.
Just letting them know that I had involvement in that.
Yeah, you know where his body is. Because
Sure.
admittedly, that's pretty good blackmail material. Also, it tracks for you.
Yeah.
And it's also, perhaps most importantly, it suggests a looser moral compass that will be of great interest to Seth Hazlitt.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. I'm
so
joining
Seth-
a cult, guys. Get ready. Buckle
I
up.
hear you.
So with that,
Exhale on the glass of the window and write it to me. I'm like, oh, okay.
Joining a cult.
Everett, you see Seth kind of come back into the study. You see Iris begin to talk to him very animatedly, and he just kind of leans against the desk. And slowly you see a different sort of grin spread across his face. You've seen the like charming, 100-watt
Yeah.
thing. It's instead like a holy shit kind of grin. And you actually see him do that like very cloying, like a bit of an applause and a laugh. And then he like very friendly, in a very friendly way, like slaps Iris on the shoulder. And smiles. And then he clicks off the recorder that he was holding up, and he just kind of nods to her, slips it into his tuxedo. And then he gestures Iris. He gestures you over to the fireplace that's kind of in the corner. And Everett, you see him kind of talking to her, and then reach for something metallic. Iris, Seth is holding a brand in the flames
Ew.
with the LGS logo on it. And he rolls up his sleeve and he's like, I know it's going to hurt, but really it's the only way. What do you say? You ready to find enlightenment?
Sure.
And as the brand scorches itself into your undead flesh, Iris done, you joined a cult. And that's where we'll leave it for today. Iris, you are in the mansion of Seth Hazlitt, the founder and CEO of Gimme, and you've just allowed yourself to be branded by the, I have to look at it every damn time, the Ludum Gravissima Society. But the good news is, having given them blackmail material revealing the location of Gordon Stevenson's body, quote, quote, as well as your involvement in his disappearance, Seth has welcomed you with open arms and great excitement into the LGS. You grit your teeth slightly as he pontificates about how the cleansing nature of the pain of the brand and how it'll it's you handled it remarkably well, but like the pain will fade, but the enlightenment and the spark of, and like it's just it dully hurt because vampires, but yeah, it's already starting to heal. Like this is some bullshit, but you are enjoying the kind of look of awe he has at how much of a badass you were taking. Now here's the question: did you feign a scream or anything, or were you mostly just disgusted and frustrated by the whole affair?
Oh, I was pretty blasé and like, yeah, whatever.
Great. So yeah, he's looking at you like you're a stone cold badass.
Well,
She feels like
she's
you're just
over it.
gritting.
She's really over this shit with him. Just like, I just want the information. He's making this
Yeah.
really difficult.
So he brings you into the grand hall, and you can see it's sort of a massive sort of dining hall that's been set up for cocktails. So the main table has been removed, and there's sort of hors d'oeuvre tables everywhere. There are fancy bartenders, both male and female, wearing remarkably few clothes, but all of whom are just delightful-looking snacks, operating from behind the various bars. And the whole place has there's an air of excitement and a buzz. There's sort of a singer who is just belting out kind of like beautiful lounge tunes. There's a woman on the piano. Both of them are blindfolded, but at this point, Of course they are. And you're welcomed in. You can see a bunch of people, as I said, dressed in a variety of different outfits. You notice in kind of the way people in the background of the Oscars often are, you see faces you vaguely recognize that basically you see enough of them to know that they're famous, but you don't really know for what necessarily. You're from a quick eyeball, this is like a C-list celebrity party, which also grates you a little bit because you were
I'm
enthusiastically
A-list.
invited. Yeah. And sure enough, people kind of like, you see some cocked eyebrows as you enter, but also some like knowing nods. Like you see a lady who's a celebrity chef that you've seen as a judge on various food shows just kind of like give you like a pleased but knowing like nod and a wink. And Seth brings you through. So he like clinks a glass, and everyone kind of falls silent. And he just announces like, everyone, please, just a moment of your time. I promised you that I had something extra special planned this evening, and as you know, tonight is a very special evening all around. But I would like to introduce the newest member of our fair society, former poet laureate Iris Dunn. And there's again like some like there's a couple of like over energetic.
You had to mention the former.
He did, but everyone applauds, and you're suddenly swarmed by well-wishers, smiling and nodding. So Iris, looking around the room as all of this is happening to you, nothing seems completely out of the ordinary yet. Again, you're surprised by the caliber of people who are here, who all have presumably, and as you start to look for it, you can see a few of them are very proudly displaying, like they've actually like cut out part of their tuxedos so that the brand is shown. You see a variety of people, but in terms of like in this sort of cocktail hour space, there isn't anything like you don't see like a big sign that says we're going to go hunt some people right now, or anything of that sort. That said, you do have a few minutes, he says, before the main event kicks off. And basically says, Iris, you've joined us on a particularly special night. This is a yearly tradition of the LGS, and one that we look forward to as a moment of tremendous renewal and excitement and energy. This is the evening of the Wild Hunt. And this is going to come as a bit of a surprise to you, but I just need you to trust me as your sponsor on this. But there is no greater sense of renewal and vitality than that of defeating an opponent in a fair hunt. And as humans have done throughout time, the thrill of the chase as well as the capture is unparalleled. So one of the things that we do as a society is gather together to experience this collectively and together, and then to celebrate with a feast. So I do ask you to keep an open mind, and if you're not up to kind of hunting the big trophies just yet, that's fine. There's a variety of things that will be loosed into the woods, but if you truly are seeking the high that you no doubt felt dealing with the good professor, well, there will be some targets afoot that perhaps you will enjoy. Now, I understand you probably didn't come prepared for a hunt, so we do have some hunting gear you can choose from, but feel free to ask around. Everyone's first hunt is different. We've had some people be very successful. We've had some people fail tremendously. But either way, the overall experience will be quite renewing, and I'm sure will inspire you to write so many more of your wonderful poems, and perhaps reclaim your rightful spot at the top of the charts. So please, make yourself at home, greet some people, and the hunt will be getting underway soon, so if you'd like another drink, make sure to grab it now, but don't fill up on appetizers. You're really going to want to save room for the main course. And then he fades away into the crowd.
Oh boy. I mean, I guess I have to try to find better clothing, because if I need to go outside and run around in the woods, this ball gown's not going to help.
Everyone's going to run around in the ball gowns. They'll give you some boots, but everyone is going hunting. As you get the sense, this might not be as fair a contest as Seth is pitching it to.
It's not a gladiator arena. This is like when they fought Nero, and they're like, "You have to lose."
Yeah, this is like a real gladiator fight where they're like, "Your weapons are blunt and you're drugged. Good luck."
Oh boy.
I fight you, Commodus. I kill you. Meanwhile, Everett, you have lost sight of Iris. You saw her and Seth enter this large room, but there are so many people inside milling about that it's very difficult to get a bead on her specifically. That said, you can hear some kind of commotion coming from the far side of the building, over where Ridley identified the stables to be.
And I'll just shut and be like, "Hey, so I'm fucking back. You see her?"
You are back. Okay. No, she's gone somewhere else in the mansion. I can't see her through any of the windows.
Okay, well then I think we should go around back, because it's clear that they got something fucking going on. There's assholes wandering around and people moving boxes. I'm betting if they go out, the big show's going to be out back.
All right. Show me where the stables are.
Perfect. I'm going to show you the fucking quietest way to get there. It's the same fucking path through trees and bushes and shit.
Gotcha, just punching your way back. Okay, so in terms of timelines, we're going to say that all of this is happening roughly concurrently. Iris's timeline's a little bit sped up just because there's more talky bits happening, but you guys are kind of looping around pretty much as the hunt is about to begin. Iris, I'm going to say you get 3 major actions you can take in this sort of ballroom cocktail lounge space. You've been informed that you will be given a weapon and appropriate footwear for the hunt. But beyond that, you don't have a lot of details. So this party, like a lot of people milling about, there's serving staff. The bartenders aren't blindfolded. It's just the musicians. But what do you think, what are the 3 things you'd like to try and accomplish in this space? You don't have to do 3, but you have the option of up to 3.
I'd probably take stock of who I know that's there.
Okay.
At the bare minimum.
Okay.
Probably talk to a bartender and see if I can get them to confide any information. Because I don't really want to be inquiring too deeply with people I don't know. Mm-hmm. But like people that seem like they have got some power and some stake in it. And I'd probably, just to be safe, I'd probably try to barter my way into a better weapon.
Oh, okay.
I don't really trust them to give me the good ones.
Okay, that's very wise. Okay, so quick scan of the room for people you know. It's people you may have attended a party with at some point, but no one that you know personally.
Anybody that I'd feel comfortable talking to, like, that I might trust?
Yeah, so like you could talk to the celebrity chef. Her name is Cannoli Carson.
Definite C-list name.
Yeah, she's got like a show called Cannoli Cooks. But you notice that she has you remember that she has a reputation, kind of like a bad reputation, because she once had a guest on who asked her why she doesn't cook pasta. And she kind of lost her mind, so you know it's a real sore spot around her. But yes, Cannoli Cooks. It's like a D-grade food channel show. Like when they run out of other things, they're like, "Oh, we're out of diners, drive-ins, and dives to show. Here's Cannoli Cooks." And she's like, "Today we're going to learn how to make an omelet." So yeah, you could talk to her. She is like a sort of a Kellyanne Conway type.
Ew.
So. Just like very sharp features, kind of like a constant grin that has no joy in it.
It's a it's like this is how a robot practices to smile.
Yeah, it was like I watched Joaquin pull his mouth out once, and I did the same thing, and then tried to keep it there.
So smiling like Eric Trump.
Yeah. Just a blank smile. So you see her talking to a couple people. You notice there are some politicians you've definitely seen from TV. You're not sure if they're local councillors or what, but definitely sort of Montreal political types. Other than that, again, like people. The nice thing is you might actually be the most famous person here, so you can pretty much talk to whoever you want, and they will not necessarily give you secret information, but they'll definitely take your call, if that makes sense. So I would say,
although I might I don't know if this would work, but I might wait to see who's the first person to come talk to me, because I feel like
that's
I'm
totally
maybe
fair.
the most intimidating person in the room in terms of notoriety.
yeah, it's definitely strange. This is a big get. This would be like Scientology celebrating the arrival of John Travolta, being like, "We finally got one," and then Tom Cruise shows up and they're like, "We got a better one."
I feel like I would just because I'm like the queen of projecting a little bit. I just kind of take my drink and wander around and like kind of put out the vibe as like, I dare you to come talk to me.
So you'll be approached by the coolest person or the slimiest wiener of the party.
One of the
Yeah.
two.
Well,
I'm just
let's-
interested to see who does it first.
Let's roll for it, Miles, and see what that comes of. So give me a if you could give me charisma and
Can I give you charisma?
let's go with are you trying to be intimidating? Are you trying to be alluring? Or are you just trying to be high status?
Probably, I mean, each one's going to bring more people. Probably intimidating.
Intimidating? Okay, so
I want to
charisma
see who.
and
I want to see.
intimidation,
Yeah,
please.
I want to see who's the most ballsy of the.
This is just, you're just going full Regina George from Mean Girls. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to walk through as though I own the place and see who.
See who has the balls to come talk to me. Yeah. Because that means that they consider themselves an alpha, and I would like to know who that is. Three successes.
All right. So, Ryan, to your question, not the sleaziest wiener.
Oh, wait. No, sorry. 4. I thought it was a 1. That's 4 successes.
Definitely not the sleaziest wiener. All right. So, a lady approaches you, and there's a definite recognized game, where her style is completely different than yours, but you can tell that she basically used the same tactics you did. She's got like a real Grace Jones vibe, just like pure confidence. People seem to kind of quietly get out of her way. She's in great shape, so she's like physically imposing, even though she's shorter than a lot of the people who are here. You notice that she's wearing sensible, though still stylish, flats rather than heels. And she's wearing for lack of a better term, a fashion romper. So it's stunning. She walks like she should be on a runway. And she just kind of struts over to you, and she's got a glass of champagne in each hand. And she just extends one to you as she approaches, and she says, Iris Dunn, it is my absolute pleasure to meet you. And it seems that already my associates here have failed at providing you with the most important part of these evenings, liquid courage. And she hands you the champagne flute.
Oh, thank you. It's nice to see that someone's observant like that.
Yes, well, I think the more you talk to some of these folks, you'll notice how many heads are up, how many asses. But, you know, such is the way of these things. That said, I hope that you'll find this evening as cleansing spiritually as I do. Sorry, this is tremendously rude of me. My name is Lily von Stoop, and it is an absolute pleasure to make your acquaintance. You likely don't know me, and that's entirely fair. I work in real estate, so if you need a house, I'm your gal. In fact, I was one of the people responsible for landing this beautiful estate in the hands of a tech douche, which I truly regret with every fiber of my being. Seeing a Roomba clean these halls just really cuts me to the core.
Lily, I like you.
Well, thank you, Iris. I've been a large fan of your work for some time. And then she kind of like gets a little bit bashful, and then just kind of kicks one of her flats off and gestures to the sort of instep arch of her foot, and you can actually see one of your lines is tattooed there. And she's like, I try and keep motivational phrases where at hand, or in this case, I guess at foot. And this one's always meant a lot to me. So I put it on my foot because people at first told me that I shouldn't be a professional with tattoos. But,
Fuck 'em.
it's 2020. Fuck them. In any case, you've joined us on a real strange night. You ready for this?
I suppose I have to be at this point.
It's a lot, I'll tell you. But the trick, and I'm sure you already got the official speech from Seth. He drank the Kool-Aid pretty hard.
No, Seth's been pretty quiet about everything that's happening. I don't feel really prepped, which I'm a little pissed off about.
Okay. So perhaps I can help with that. So she drags you over to the window. This is around the time Everett and Ridley, when you two have met back up, and it begins sort of crawling around the corner. So she takes you to the edge and kind of opens. There are massive doors leading out onto the grounds that are open, and she gestures out to the stables, and she says, so part of the Wild Hunt is about all of us who try and act as forces of good in the world, really, truly re-energizing ourselves and our minds and our spirits, because, as you know, if you don't, this world will eat you whole. It's a terrible wording on my part based on what we're about to do, but you know what I mean. In any case, we have one of the things the society does is collect all manner of creature and release them into the woods, and then it's up to us to track them down, hunt them, and perhaps best of all, nothing goes to waste. So whatever you kill is your meal, and you can choose to share it with people or not. People get very competitive about sort of the big targets. But having hunted, killed, and consumed the flesh of a creature, you gain its vitality, you gain its energy, and it adds to yours. And it's a small price, I think, for these creatures to pay for the good that we're able to do in the world as luminaries. And the society is very old. This is a tradition that's gone on for years. But it's important, Iris. And it may be a little bit distasteful at first, hence the liquid courage. But I got to tell you, when you sink your teeth into human flesh for the first time, and you just think about the experiences that this meal has had from birth to now, you really you sing with the voice of all humanity, and it truly is an enriching experience. So keep an open mind. Honestly, it just kind of tastes like pork if it's done right, and honestly, cannoli does a pretty good job with prepping the meals. So just don't think too hard about it right now. It's more something to reflect on as you go.
I just had a
And honestly, we have seminars and stuff about it. It's, you have to get over the little mental bump. But once you do, there's nothing like it.
I just had a really disgusting vision of a human meat cannoli.
Ugh. I mean, world of darkness.
I was gonna say, don't worry, she doesn't cook pasta.
She doesn't cook cannoli, yeah. So with that, she kind of pats you on the shoulder. And here's the question. Do you try and ditch her to go talk to the bartender and barter for a better weapon, or do you bring her with you? Is she kind of your person now?
I'd probably bring her with me.
Okay. So I will say that will likely cut off your ability to ask the bartender any real deep probing questions. So what would you like to ask the bartender?
I'd probably want to make sure that the staff is here on their own free will and they're not being held captive.
Okay. Yep. The staff seem thrilled. This
Okay.
guy's he's honestly, one night of work, I make more than I make in a year. It's fantastic. All my friends and I love coming to this place. No one tells us anything. We don't ask. We just get a bunch of fancy people drunk. And honestly, I've worked weddings that were sloppier than these. So power to them.
And then
It's weird that they go shoot the fancy animals in the woods, but fuck tigers. They'd kill me too. So fuck them.
I'd probably ask if he had any good gossip or social climbing rungs that I should be looking out for, because the bartenders hear everything. So I just want to know if there's any people that are fighting, or if there's any specific people that he knows that I should be buddying up to.
Can you go ahead and roll me a manipulation and persuasion check, please. And sorry, Everett and Ridley. Jesus, Ridley. We'll get back to you in like 2 seconds. Just splitting the party always has.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, hunting and eating humans is, I'm here for this content too. So
Yeah, I forgot how excited you always get to solve when the mystery gets solved. It's like,
yeah, and it's just like, clear black and white villains, perfect. No more, no more mystery, no more ambiguity. I don't know why I
Tyler,
chose to play a detective. I'm terrible.
they're
at it. I just wanna
bringing
kill the
joy
bad
to the
guys.
world with their mediocre businesses.
3 successes.
God damn, Miles, you were rolling on fire today.
Yeah, well, you're picking all of my stats with the high number of dice.
You didn't go hunting in the woods yet. Be slightly different roles. Wicked. Okay, so yeah, the bartender definitely spills some tea.
Yeah.
He points out that perhaps the sort of most scandalous thing that he personally has seen is that the mayor is here. And he was kind of surprised because the mayor seems like a real stodgy old guy. He points to just kind of a large gray-haired fella who is very boisterously laughing with Cannoli Carson and a couple other people. He's wearing just like an off-the-rack suit, and you can tell by the way the crowd around him reacts that like everyone has to kind of indulge him a little bit. But yeah, so he's laughing and chatting with people. The other big drama is that there's a lawyer here tonight who is getting just wicked trashed, and this is kind of like bartender favorite gossip, which is like he's been ordering triples all night, and he's been here for a bit. So he points out a guy who is wearing a very expensive, slightly more classical cut tuxedo. So he's got like the gold watch chain. It's a gray, like sort of like a slight gray suit. Impeccably dressed, but slightly disheveled. So everything's just a little bit off now. He's clearly been at it for a while. This guy looks like the dude from Devil Wears Prada and The Mentalist, like super handsome blonde guy.
I know exactly who you mean.
Yeah. Wacky eyebrows. Otherwise, just like super handsome. He was also, I believe, in Special Delivery or some such, which was like, you get tomorrow's paper today. Great show. Anyway, so it's him. So just like a very handsome blonde guy who is definitely like pretty sweaty, a little bit trashed. She's like, and so the bartender says, yeah, he insists that I call him Mr. Brooks, which I think is very funny. Because when the mayor tells you to call him by his first name and some fucking lawyer comes over and tells you to call him by his last name, it's pretty weird. Anyway, Mr. Brooks has really been knocking him back. He keeps muttering something about just like, this is what you get, you son of a bitch, and then he takes a drink. It's so weird because he keeps ordering two. So he'll order triples and he orders another one, and he just keeps lining them up, clinking his glass against them, drinking, and then he stumbles back into the crowd. It's very strange.
Well, that's...
Brooks and Mann are our lawyers we're looking for.
Yes. Well, that's very, very helpful. Do we tip them? Can we tip them? Is there a tip jar, or are they like...
There isn't, but he practically has his hand out.
I know, but I feel like... Do I have a phone on me? Probably
they would have
not.
taken your phone. Yeah, Guillermo would have taken your phone.
Because I would have been like, hey, I'll Venmo you some money. Give me your code.
That's pretty funny. Okay,
I mean, the bartender could still give you the code.
I was gonna
give
say,
me your Venmo code and I'll give you a hefty tip.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, all right. He gives you his fucking like transfer code, and he's like, "Thank you, ma'am. Don't forget to tip late tonight." And then he slides you your drink. So Lily is able, I think because you rolled so high on that and you've chosen to keep her kind of on side, she's able to hook you up with better stuff. So when the time comes, it's like Laser Quest. There's just like a rack of weapons for people who didn't bring their own. She immediately waves off like the shitty things they're trying to give you. Here's a question. Do you take a scoped rifle, or do you take a like a sports hunting bow? Both will be very easy for you to use. And when I say like a sports hunting bow, I'm talking like the one with all the little wheels and stuff, so there's really no tension on it. Yeah. Yes, recurve. Thank you. Yeah. The one you have to upgrade to in Tomb Raider is specifically what I'm thinking.
I'd probably take the bow because that's badass.
Cool. I think I've just realized I'm just a bunch of pop culture references in a trench coat,
Yeah.
but it's
Me too, man.
it's good.
Why do you think I married you?
So you take the recurve bow, and you're just starting to get equipped when you hear a bunch of commotion outside, and Seth runs by, being like, "Don't worry, everyone. Everything's going according to plan." And then you see him just grab Guillermo, and he's like, "Blow the fucking horn." Meanwhile, outside, the two of you, Everett and Ridley, have made your way around to the side of the mansion, and sure enough, there is big commotion happening at the stables, and you actually see a shock of orange and black, like a sort of a large cat, dash into the woods. As well as the kind of pale white flesh of a Caucasian fellow dashing into the woods at high speed, completely naked aside from running shoes. And you hear there's a bunch of staff wearing Patagonia vests just being like, "Oh, shit! Fuck!" And you can see that one of the stable doors seems to be knocked off its hinges, and it seems that some of the captives are escaping into the trees.
Wow.
Okay, so it's a hunting club, and they got fucking naked people running into the woods along with, I think that was a tiger?
I was honestly surprised to see the tiger more so than the people. I was fairly certain we were getting into a people hunting kind of cult.
Well, I think that's fucking
tiger
official.
completely threw me.
So, here's the nice thing. I just want to throw this out there, but if we've got a bunch of rich cunts in the woods hunting people, I can hurt as many people as I want, and I don't have to feel bad about it.
Hurt is fine. We shouldn't kill too many people. These are high-profile individuals.
You know what?
Remember, we're here on a case.
I think I'm going to have my thing, and you're going to have your thing, and at the end of the day, we're going to do some good. You know?
You need to be careful, though. All right? Remember the masquerade. Remember what we're here for.
Yeah, I'm just...
You
Don't...
can't be ripping people's heads off and draining their blood is what I'm saying.
I'll make it look like a tiger. Okay, let's fucking do this. So, if we go into the woods, we can get out in front of where the people go. We could save the people. I don't know, try to choke out the tiger or something. Hopefully it keeps running. And then we can hunt the hunters. You shoot anybody who's good with a gun, and I'll rip the face off of whoever isn't.
I was about to say that sounds good, but it really doesn't. But it's our only plan, so yeah, sounds good. Get up and...
And then you see the guy with the man bun, Guillermo, run outside, and he's holding an iPhone in one hand and a Bluetooth speaker in the other. And you see him fumble and then push a button, and out of the Bluetooth speaker you just hear, "Bum, bum." And then the people at the stable are like, "Oh shit, they blew the horn!" And they crack open the doors and just start dragging people into the woods. You can see there's a number of people being kind of herded in, and then like just a bunch of fucking weird animals. An ostrich takes off, running into the woods. There's a couple other big cats. There's just sort of, you can see various creatures kind of being released. Just a full menagerie of fun. You're pretty sure you see a kangaroo jump its way in there. And then Everett, to your horror, you see a paunchy guy still somehow wearing a hat, sort of get shoved off into the trees, and you're pretty sure it's Harvey.
Yeah.
So you hear over the Bluetooth speaker, which has remarkably good range, a voice just saying, "The wild hunt begins in 5, 4." Meanwhile, inside, there's pandemonium. Like, people are running for their weapons, but it's in a very, like, rich people trying to get their jackets at the opera kind of way. So it's a lot of, like, "Oh, well, normally they give us much more warning. I mean, I wasn't finished my finger foods. And there's just like a tray of weenies trying to quickly eat. Someone's like, I just poured a coffee.
Just a bunch of people doing a lot of cocaine really quick.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, because they're also not necessarily all old folks. It's like, I didn't get to finish vaping.
yeah, exactly. Like, two people come rushing out of a bathroom, like trying to put their clothes back on. Like, there's a couple of ladies who are having sex who are desperately trying to get. They're like, oh fuck, we're missing it. There's kind of complete chaos, and Seth comes running over, and on the one hand, like everything's kind of going pear-shaped, but on the other hand, there's a thrill to the air, and he's like, so Iris, oh good, you've met Lily, that's wonderful. Iris, are you ready? It's time for you to experience the thrill of the wild hunt, and remember, all of the creatures out there are serving a greater purpose, just like you or I. By adding their energy to your own, you will do so much good for so many people. So really just think of it as a willing sacrifice on their part. And have fun. Oh, good. You got a cool bow. That's awesome. I mean, do you volunteer as tribute? And he kisses his 3 fingers and holds them up. He's like, it's a little Hunger Games joke for you. All right, I'll see you out there. Good hunting. And as he goes to leave, the lawyer just like bounces into him. And he's like, Eric? Eric, hey, maybe some water, bud. You know, you want some electrolytes? You gotta stay sharp, bud. And Eric's just like, you just make sure that it's just fast for Jerome if you get him before me, right? He's a good guy. We just gotta do the thing. And Seth's like, yep. That'll be up to whoever catches him. You knew what this was, Eric. In any case, if you'll excuse me, and he goes, and he's got like, Guillermo comes rushing over with like a bandolier of throwing knives and a rifle. It looks like the fanciest tech rifle you've ever seen. It's clearly got a lot of money and is probably not as useful as an old school rifle. And he sort of lets out a battle cry where he's like, "Gimme sets you up right!" And then a bunch of the people in vests yell the same thing, and then he runs off into the woods. Iris, what do you do?
I'm probably gonna try to incapacitate Mr. Brooke. I want to take his weapon, tie him up somewhere, just kind of lock him up safe.
Okay, I think go ahead and roll me a persuasion check of some sort. Let's say charisma or are you trying to like seduce him into a corner, or are you just trying to talk him into?
I'll probably try to like very cursory seduce him. He seems trashed enough that it's not going to take much.
Yeah, it's going to be a real easy roll.
And then just kind of, either lock him in a closet or just put him somewhere out of the way, so I can have him later.
So give me charisma and we'll say persuasion, please.
It's not your strong suit, is it?
No, charisma and persuasion. Neither of those are my strong suits.
If only this had been a fist fight.
I manipulate their fist into missing by persuading it to aim elsewhere.
5 successes.
Good God. Okay, let's get you into a fist fight soon. So yeah,
he ties himself up.
Yeah, so I think you grab him, and the goal is to like seduce him into going somewhere, like in Hitman terms, you want to take him to like a non-patrolled closet.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you say to him as he's desperately trying to load shells into a shotgun, and he's like putting them in backwards and then trying to cock it and be like,
I mean, like normally if he was sober, I'd totally put on dumb dizzy blonde voice, but I don't have the patience or the time, so I'm literally just gonna go up to him and sarcastically say, "You sound like a big, strong, capable man in this hunt. Want to help me? Show me how to use my little gun over here."
He's like, "Sure thing, sweet tits. Look how good I am at loading this gun." And then he tries to cock it, and the bullet gets jammed. He's like, "Oh, I need a fresh one. This one sucks." And he throws it on the ground, and luckily there weren't any shells properly loaded. And
This guy's gonna blow his own head
yeah,
off.
that would have been also good. Everyone kind of gives him some space, and he's like, "Okay, well, they sort that out. I show you how to use your gun. I got a gun, too. That's what I say to ladies at bars." So
Oh,
yeah,
I believe
he's like,
it.
you're just kind of guiding him as he like stumbles. And as you start to go, Lily kind of gives you a strange look. She's like, Iris, what are you doing? The hunt's begun.
I know his wife. I'm just gonna tuck him away.
She just smiles and nods. She says, "I knew you were one of the good ones." Okay, well, I'll wait for you. But yeah, it'd be a real shame. It's gonna be so sad when he vomits on that suit. Oh well. Okay. Well, see you in a few minutes then.
Bye.
Oh, such a good person. She says as she like.
Yeah,
like
I don't
loads
understand,
her like checks the scope on her crossbow. So you lead him into there's sort of like an unused small room nearby that seems to be like you open the door and the air is stale. Like clearly no one has come or gone. This is a building large enough to have rooms upon rooms. So you shove him in, you tie him up.
It's
do
the
you say anything to him?
it's the Roomba room.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It at one point would have been like a stately room that you could serve tea in. Now the Roombas hang out in there. Okay, so you tie him up. Do you say anything to him, or you knock him out, or are you just leaving him?
I think I just tie him up and leave him there. He's pretty drunk.
He's like, "Cool, you learned how to use the rope gun.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, I did.
I'm gonna have a nap though.
Oh, I think that's the best idea you've had.
You tell him I did good," and then he passes out. Cool. So meanwhile, Everett and Ridley.
I was going to say, at the ringing of the bell, Ridley's off like a shot.
Yeah.
Fuck stealth. It's
Right.
just
So
a monster through the woods.
The timer runs down, and you see sort of 4 flares are shot up into the sky. It's already pretty bright. It's a pretty like cloudless evening, and the moon's pretty bright. So you've got like pretty decent visibility, aside from obviously the woods being like when there's clearings, you have decent sight lines, but when there isn't, there aren't. The flares go up, and briefly, kind of the woods are bathed in red. And with kind of a collective whoop, you see a bunch of the party guests just spill into the woods. So here's my kind of like operational question for this. Ridley, you're aiming to just like fucking murder anyone with a weapon. Is that correct?
Correct.
Cool. Everett, what is your operating order for this?
Find Harvey.
Okay. Straight up going for Harvey. Presumably.
Oh, Ridley would also need to protect. This is so dark, and I doubt it's true. I doubt there are children, but if there were children, that's a game changer for Ridley.
Happily, there are no children.
Oh, good. Then we can just fucking kill all the rich people. That's great.
You also, I believe, were provided a visual description of Dominic Looney, so keep your eyes out for her as well. All right. So with that, the wild hunt begins, unknowing that there are other hunters in the woods, Inception hunters who hunt the hunted, hunting the hunts. And
Hunting the wild hunt?
Yes, exactly. And meanwhile, Lily turns to you, Iris, and she says, "So, you ready to go get enlightened?"
Oh boy, am I ever.
And with that, the two of you dash out into the woods. Ridley, as your teeth tear open the throat of the man holding the hunting rifle, you just can't help but smile. Ever since you got here, there's been a lot of cloak and dagger nonsense. You're trapped in the woods. You're covered in dirt. You know, you're taking over the city bit by bit. But honestly, like, it's been tough. Xanatos has been, you know, he's a kid. He's going through some moody phases. It's been a challenge. You miss your mom. You miss 50 Stone and the boys back across the pond. And you haven't really got to have much fun since you got here. But man, eating this asshole, pretty fucking fun. So he is grasping at your like improvised ghillie suit, and he's just like, "Do you know who I am?"
And I think while I'm eating him, I go, "Oh yeah, you're dead." And then I just punched through his skull into a tree, so it's just full pulp.
Cool. Yeah. So his head explodes, and his body falls sideways. You look at the gun, but I feel like at this point, am I correct in thinking you don't really give a shit about firearms at this point? This is more of a...
No, because we want it to be quieter as
Tactile
well.
experience.
So I think he'd be getting close, but he'd probably, if it had a sling, just like sling it around himself, because I think Ridley's idea would be, and then if we find a naked person, we can give them the gun.
Yeah, all right, that's pretty good. Okay, you can also reduce your hunger by 1. Because
Dope.
you've slaked your thirst. So,
I don't need a messy successy. I'm just going to get fucking messy all on my own.
so we're a few minutes into the wild hunt, and already things have turned to chaos. There are gunshots. You're pretty sure you heard a flamethrower, but you can't. You can see kind of a flickering of fire in the distance, but you're not sure. You lost sight of Everett pretty quickly. I think because as he was like trying to sight Harvey, and you just saw targets. This was a pretty easy call for you. And this fellow happened to be the unfortunate first man you caught. He was lining up a shot on a guy who was kind of like running through like a fairly athletic guy who was running through the trees. And you thought it might be an appropriate time to have a snack. So you his pulped head and body kind of slumped to the ground. You sling the gun up around your shoulder. What do you think your strategy is for the fight?
I think Ridley's strategy, because he's used to kind of like ugly street fights, and this may be the woods, but it's an ugly street fight with like two sides. He's dressed and he has weapons, and all the victims are naked. So he would probably be trying to just get close to people where they would assume he was another hunter until he's within arm's reach, and then it's just kill him fast and quiet.
And I will say there are people dressed in full camo. Like there's definitely some people who came dressed in the suit that you had in your head when you called the Bouchard brothers, like full ghillie suit. Like there's a real hunter porn thing going on.
Yeah, so I think it's like he gets to play like he's part of the pack kind of thing, and then when he get anybody separated, he'd take him out. He would take greater risks if someone was about to kill someone in the woods. He'd throw down then, like because he believes people have to kind of be a part of the evil world for them to be sacrificial, so he wouldn't just like let somebody get shot to
these are
get
people
an
who
advantage.
aren't in the game.
Yeah, that's why he'd be like arming them. If one of them's nearby when he kills somebody, he'd be like, "Hey, oi, put on these fucking clothes." They don't know you're fucking victim unless you're naked.
Okay, yeah. So you find the athletic guy, and he's like, "That's a good tip. Thanks." And he starts putting on this guy's suit. The suit is much bigger than he is, so he looks like a child wearing his dad's suit. But it's better than nothing. He's like, listen, man, sorry, I know we just met, but you mind giving me that gun?
Oh, yeah, here you go. You take the rifle. Oh, I got this too. And because Ridley's like the man of 1,000 burner phones, so just be like, take your phone. I'll call you in a bit when it's safe to go. We can get you a call ride or something. But just like, fuck off and hide.
Oh, that's great, man. Thanks. Hey, does this have long distance minutes?
Well, I mean, technically it's sort of pay as you go. So.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's cool. I can just top up then.
Yeah. Just make sure that you leave like 2 minutes. So if I need to call you, then I can.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. Thanks, man. You're a cool dude.
Yeah, you're a cool guy too. Good luck.
Thanks. You too. And he darts off into the woods. So Ryan, I'm gonna get you to roll me 3 strength and brawl checks, please.
Okay, cool.
Or melee if you feel like that's more appropriate. But I feel like you're not.
No, Ridley
you're not like
actually
fisticuffs. This is just like full on. Like I'm gonna throw you into a tree.
Also, because of Ridley's vampiric nature, his unarmed attacks do aggravated damage to mortals. So it's the exact same as if he was using a weapon. Yeah, so he just throws down. Plus, it'll look like a bear. That's his running theory, is he can get as gross as he wants. All right. You said 3 checks, right?
Yep. We're gonna take the it's kind of a 2 out of 3 kind of deal. So we're gonna see where you fall.
Okay, that is 4 successes for the first one.
Okay.
And that is 5 successes for the second one.
Jesus.
We're real murdery today.
Always.
I feel like there's that scene in Futurama where they put Bender in jail. And it's one of my favorite line deliveries of the entire series. And he's just like, "Oh no, Bender, how are you going to get out of these bars? Oh, wait a minute." And it just bends them. And like, what's funny is he cuts himself off because he's just so fucking like, "Fucking, of course I can do this." And then they walk out. I feel like I accidentally put 3 bending units in a room full of bars.
Yeah, and then I've got 3 successes, and one of them is a 10.
Okay, cool. So you succeed on all 3. You also succeed with an overall margin of 6. So I'm going to let you have some fun. But yeah, generally speaking, you're in good shape. So basically the way we're going to play this, rather than rolling for every single thing, is I'm going to get each of you to kind of roll for the major action you're taking, unless you're taking a bunch of smaller actions. In your case, it's kill as many of the LGS hunters as you can. In Tyler's case, it's going to be finding Harvey and probably Dominic, but Harvey first. And Miles, in your case, what is Iris's objective now that she's out here? You're in a real strange position where you're trying to fit in. You're still trying to find Dominic and, to some extent, Harvey. But those are really Everett objectives. Mm-hmm. How into that are you? Because I think one of the most interesting things about this coterie is you all agree to help whoever's got the issue, but you don't all necessarily need to care. This is a real, like, how far have you slid into vampirism type question? Because I feel like as a human, it'd be like, oh no, I want these humans to survive. But given that we're all starting to slowly lose our humanity, where's Iris at on this terrible comedian I saw one time needs to survive? Because you hated that show. And you know he's a detective or something, but like really, he's just a bad comedian.
Sorry, who is this that we're talking about? Harvey?
Harvey
Harvey Grimm.
So Harvey, if you'll remember, retired to Montreal to follow his dreams as a stand-up comedian.
And we did all see him do stand-up in
you
that
all,
one
you all
weird
went to the
bar.
show and
Right.
you hated it. You know he's important to Everett, but I don't know that you would... I guess what I'm trying to figure out is whether you'd actively be trying to save him in the same way Everett is, or if more like Ridley, you'd be following your own objective.
I think I'd probably be
around
following my own objective. I don't know that I'd be necessarily, but I think that if I was to see someone stalking Harvey, I would... But I think I already took care of that. I think
Unless Seth's doing it.
Harvey was for Brooke, right?
No, Jerome is for Brooke. That's Jerome Mann, the man cave of which you visited previously.
Okay.
But nevertheless, you did take Brooke off the board. So then what is Iris's prime objective? Is it killing Seth Hazlitt? Is it just blending in? The other question is, do you think you're going to want to, like, do you need to maintain the fiction to continue to be able to participate in LGS things? You don't really know much about this organization other than this. Mm-hmm. It may not have anything beyond this you want. But those are the sorts of questions I'd like you to figure out. We'll switch over to Tyler as he does his roles. But if you could figure those out and let me know when we come back to you, that would be dope. Tyler.
Yeah.
So your strategy is less shoot everything that moves, more find Harvey, and then find Dominique. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, let's go with investigation, and I think wits or resolve rather than intelligence, because this is a high pressure scenario. I will also say this check is going to be the way disadvantage works in this is I just bump up the difficulty level of the check. The difficulty will be higher in this because this isn't a crime scene. This isn't what you're used to investigating.
Yep.
Your skill set still applies. It's just in a drastically different way.
Yeah, I'm going to roll 8 dice. And if our solo session is any indication, 8 dice will yield like 7 failures. because fuck, I guess.
Yeah, it was...
Here we go.
I dubbed that miniseries the Messy Successes. Really, Everett should have been like the untold multiple failures.
Unfucking believable. Okay, I have one more die to roll to total my whole thing.
Yay!
So we'll just roll one more.
It's fine.
I have no hunger dice because I'm topped up.
Yeah, it's fine, Tyler. Just think of it as consistency. You're a continuity fan.
Okay. 8 dice, 2 successes. Fuck me up.
All right. So there's chaos. You're still adjusting to how acute your senses have become, having drank from Martha. So in a way, you're almost getting like after image when you get like a bright flash and there's the glowing bits.
Yep.
The flares are really fucking with your eyes. The moon is bright, but like there's red, there's darkness. It's very hard to keep track, particularly because I think you keep trying to use the scope to get like better distance on things. You're not trying to shoot anyone. You're just literally using it to sight. And yeah, you're not a rifle guy. You're a pistol guy. So
Yep.
you're very disoriented. Go ahead and roll again. This is the 2 out of 3 deal.
Okay.
I will say you have a negative hold coming with you from that previous one.
Do 5s pass or fail?
Fail.
I can't
It's
remember.
6 to 10 that pass.
6 to 10. Okay. A little better. One more to roll. That's better. 4 successes.
Okay, so you just make it on that one. All right, one more. This is what will tell the tale.
Yes. Good. That's another 4 successes.
All right. So I'm bringing forward your -2, but in the same way I brought forward Ryan's +6. But overall, successful result. So after a few minutes of complete and total chaos, you manage to kind of calm yourself. And I think it's one of those things where you just take a moment and realize that you're literally running through the woods, staring down a sniper scope, trying to find things. And just take a second.
What am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. Be like, no, I shouldn't be holding down L2 right now. I can just look around. And it's just kind of stopping and considering, like, no, I can do this. I know how to process a crime scene. I'm just letting myself get carried away with the chaos. So you begin a more methodical search. And I think part of that is like move through the woods, pause, quick scope of all the people you see running. Don't see Harvey, move on. Miles, what is your objective?
Yeah, I think my objective might to go after Seth.
Yep.
I don't like him, and I don't like being beholden to him at all because he's a dick.
Yeah, you already have one sire. 2 is too many.
So I think.
He has.
So I think I want
to.
to. Like my objective is to get Seth, and as a result, kind of like supplant him, and I'd rather have like Lily as my mentor in this. So because I feel like we've got a better relationship already as sort of like equals, so that we can kind of maybe maneuver her as the head of this.
Cool. Okay, so I'm not going to have you roll anything just yet. We'll have you roll when you actually encounter Seth. The next thing I need you to think about is what Iris's plan for this is. Do you need to lose Lily? Do you need to figure out the exact steps of this for me? And then we'll have you roll those individually.
Okay.
In a moment. Okay, wicked. So, Tyler, you are Everett is pushing through the trees. And yeah, sure enough, you can see there is definitely a tiger running around. You see some exotic animals. You see a woman take an arrow through the back of the head and collapse into the trees. And you hear what is in all likelihood a YouTube influencer of some sort yell like, "Yay, I got one. Did you see how she fell? I got her right in the head. This is the best."
Urge to kill rising.
It's up to you, man. You can see the lady with the bow. She's like jumping up and down, and then she hugs her pal, who's like, "Yeah, good shot, honey. It's a shame we couldn't finish what we were doing earlier."
Oh, I have priorities, but good lord, that's insufferable.
There's just like a close up of your finger closing around the trigger, and then like slowly releasing, and then just tightening again. It's like no.
Yeah.
Okay, so you continue on. You make your way through, and then to your surprise, you see a kind of large, kind of older, out of shape guy, kind of like rushing someone covered in a what looks to be almost like a blanket, into a small clearing, and it looks like, I mean, you've seen Harvey in the shower. That's definitely Harvey's ass. And he kind of shoves her into a clearing, and then all of a sudden, because there's a -2 on your file, a bullet tears through his back, and you see him just grunt and stumble. Looks like it got him in the shoulder. It went clear through him, so it's probably not mortal. But you see him kind of just stumble and fall, and the figure in the cloak just kind of spins around and drops to his knees next to him, and you just hear a voice say, Mr. Grimm, are you all right?
Where did the shot come from?
So as you sort of pan back across with your rifle, you see what looks like Seth Hazlitt just kind of in the trees, just kind of looking down from the scope of his rifle, being like, shoulder? Ah, damn it. Meanwhile, Iris, you and Lily have been kind of moving through the trees, and you caught sight of Seth kind of very happily kind of doing the full-on I'm playing army through the trees, and then line up a shot and fire it, and then you heard a scream through the bushes. So at the same time that Everett is just sort of starting to sight, trying to track where the bullet came from, you and Lily are sneaking up, and Lily's like, honestly, with a rifle that good, anyone could hit anything. I don't think Seth's heart's really in this.
He doesn't seem like the right guy to be leading this. How did that happen?
Money. He has a lot of money.
Well, that's just
so much money.
Not fair.
It
seems like he's just
bank account is he funded a lot of the people who are here.
Just seems that he bought his way to something, and why should we follow that?
I mean, he is very enlightened. I mean, this tradition had fallen off almost entirely until he used his money and resources to get all the willing volunteers.
But it sounds to me like you have so much more vision than he does.
Well, I mean, sure, but I am but a humble real estate agent. Now, listen, we can talk about this later, but I gotta tell you, I have not eaten today because I was fully expecting a good meal tonight. So at the very least, I want to gorge on some tiger, if not some willing human. So
I mean, I'm just feeling like we need to make a move here, and I don't want Seth to lead us. I think you should, and I think we should I just feel like it's the path to enlightenment to put someone better on this throne.
Just going full on coup in the woods, huh? All right.
Yeah. What if they eat Seth?
That's what I mean. She can eat. You can eat Seth, Lily. Think of all the positive
shit you can absorb
positiveness you can absorb from this guy who brought us all together.
All right, Miles, I'm going to make you roll a check for realsies on that.
Yeah, well, of course.
You've got... so, I know I look this up every fucking time. Your vampire discipline, I believe, you do have one that convinces people of things when you need it to, correct? I know you've got,
I mean,
you can see
the
future.
I have awe, I have presence, I have awe, which is like a +1 to my persuasion and charisma.
Okay, yeah. So let's go with that, and that's just a passive one. Yeah, that one just runs. Yeah, you don't need to roll for that. Okay. So go ahead and roll. Definitely persuasion.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna say this is manipulate, not charisma, because charisma would be like thanks, that is cute, but I don't know. Whereas manipulate is but you really should, though, right?
Which I also okay. So I get just a +1 to persuasion then.
Given the stakes involved in this, I will quote your pal and mine, RuPaul, and say, "Don't fuck it up," because this is a high stakes game you're playing in the woods.
That's 4 successes.
Just enough. Okay. Lily nods to you And she says, yeah, eating Seth. Surely if he believes as much in our mission as he claims to, then he too, of course, will be willing to make this sacrifice. But I don't. Look, I've known him for years. I don't know if I can do it. Did he said this that this would be okay? He said he would do. Believes in our mission.
He said he would do anything for his mission.
Well, I guess long live the queen. And she starts to raise her crossbow. Here's my question to you, Miles. Do you want to try and shoot him first?
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and... Well, okay, in that case, you put a hand on her crossbow. Because you want to set her up as your fake mentor, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you kind of turn to her and you put a hand on the crossbow and you say something to the effect of like, let me do this for you, new sponsor, and then you line up your shot. Mm-hmm. Everett, you've just seen Harvey and the cloaked figure stumble into this clearing. You've just sighted Seth in the woods. What are you doing?
I gotta kill Seth because he's shooting my friend.
All right, so go ahead. Miles, can you roll me, please, a dexterity and I think firearms is as close as we're going to get, or athletics. Either of those would be fine. Tyler, for you, I need either dexterity or resolve. Actually, let's say resolve. Resolve and firearms, please.
Okay.
What happens? Does your chances go down if you only have a certain amount of dice to roll?
No. I set a difficulty in my head for how many successes you need.
Yeah, but what if the dice I have is under that?
Then you fail.
Okay.
Then you need to roll a critical success in order to get it.
Okay. One success, because I have 2 dice.
Okay.
I'm a talky motherfucker. I don't do shooting.
You dramatically pull the string back on the bow and let loose the arrow, which kind of flies through the trees. And as it goes, like, yeah, Iris, you are thinking exactly that. Like, this is not... I don't think you've ever shot a bow. Or if you have, it was like at summer camp when you were 10. Like, this is dumb. It is very easy to shoot, at least. So you launch, and the arrow kind of flies off into the darkness. And for a second, you just realize, like, you've just completely fucked up this moment. And then Seth's head explodes. And you just kind of turn back to Lily, who looks very impressed. What do you say?
Bon appetit.
Damn. All right. So Everett, you see Seth collapse into the trees, and then you see kind of Harvey struggle up on one elbow as the figure reaches out and puts like a hand on his shoulder, and she just says, "Don't worry, Mr. Grimm. I think my friends and I've got it from here." And as you watch, the arm goes from kind of like almost lily white to sprouting hair at a rapid speed. And the woman throws the cloak off, and for a moment you see outlined in the moonlight a sort of beautiful naked woman crouched over Harvey Grimm, who just kind of looks up into the trees through a fringe of kind of her long hair. And she smiles as her skin begins to sprout hair. And then with a guttural cry, she howls at the moon. And then, to your shock, you hear howls from throughout the trees.
Motherfucker.
Outstanding. 10 out of 10.
And then the screams begin. Speaking of screams, Ridley, during this event, you are still murdering your way through the trees. So at this point now, you've, I think we'll say the +6 is going to be your ultimate kill count for the woods. You've dropped 4 of them. Is there anything in particular you'd like to do other than just like you've set a few people free? A few people were already dead, but fuck them. Is there an additional goal that you would like? Because you did roll very well, or is it just kill as many as you can?
Ridley's always looking out for number one in any of these moments, and I think he's also aware that a lot of these people are very rich, and rich people are stupid and thumbprint their phones and keep their accounts on their phones. So I think he may have tried people's phones on their dead thumbs to see if he can, like, essentially drain any bank accounts or any assets he might find useful.
All right, I'll just give that to you with the +6. That's pretty dope. I'm going to say by the time your murder spree is done, you will have siphoned... I'm just getting D100 here.
Just like a bear would have.
Yeah. An illiterate bear is like, yes, send transfer.
What can I say? It's a bear market.
Yay!
Oh, boy.
I rolled pretty well. Ryan, you've managed to pull $98,000. This is because, to Tyler's point, being an illiterate man with a phone, you're just mashing a bunch of things to make go.
Yeah, it has to be a bank I recognize and an app I'm already using, because I understand money, but I cannot read instructions, and I cannot do anything.
Honestly, the way I'm imagining this is that, like, you're dragging one person with you and being like, tell him to open the fucking phone! And they're like, oh, jeez, just do it, Jerry, just do it, he's really mean. Like, you just found a Morty to bring with you on your killing spree. Also, Ryan, as I said, we're going to say your kill count is about 6. We've already seen 1. It'll take all night if we do all of them. But please recount for me your 3 favorite kills in the woods.
Okay, Ridley had wanted to try this for a while, and he saw a guy that was hunting a lady with a bow, and he doesn't respect bow hunting because he thinks it's mean. Use a gun or just punch it. Don't be an asshole. So he snuck up behind him and managed to pin him to the tree with his knee, and then just sunk a hand in his mouth, and then just folded him in half backwards. And he didn't know he could do that, but he can now, and that is impressive. So that was an exciting highlight for him. He went to another one, and this one I think was he just snuck up on a guy who seemed pretty terrible. And he'd always wanted to know because he's like, theoretically comic books might make sort of sense to him because he can look at pictures, at least the covers. And he'd seen that one where Bane breaks Batman, but he couldn't read what the sound was. So he picks this guy up and redoes the knee break just so he can hear it. And now he knows one word, and it's just crunch, but he knows it. Just if he sees that one. And then for the third one, I think he wasn't sure whether he could do this or not, but he managed to get 2 people who were together and crush both of their heads in one move. And it was like a watermelon. He did, again, I think there's sort of a sense of fun for Ridley where he gets to take off all the moral quandaries and needing to, like, make friends or be powerful in the streets. And he just gets to figure out how strong he is. And the answer is very strong.
This is just that Zombieland montage where it's just like, oh, it's fun because everyone's a zombie now. We don't need to worry about the ethics of this.
I would like to submit that that's the YouTube couple, just because I need a win in here as well.
Sure. It's the world's strangest unboxing. So, great. So that all happens. Everett, weirdly, this decision's going to fall to you. Dominique smells the air, and then she looks in your direction, and by this point, she's fully wolfed out, like just, doubled in size, hunched over. And you hear her hiss kind of through the trees. Kindred, will you stand in our way or help us? You remember from your call with your maker that
come on,
werewolves are a big fucking problem. They are viewed as they're generally known as the great enemy. They are one of the few things that's real fucking good at killing kindred. They're also very tasty for kindred. And you know from your first night with the Bouchard brothers that the werewolf population in and around Montreal is high. That said, The Masquerade and the Camarilla have rules. Everett Fry does not, necessarily. So, here's my question to you. What do you do about Dominique Looney?
I think almost exclusively because of the current situation, it's talking time and not vampire versus werewolf time. I do, like, my role in the city of Montreal is to represent, not necessarily to represent, but to ensure a foothold for the Camarilla, and then to reinstate a prince or anything like that, and basically get the Masquerade under control here. And all of that means killing werewolves. But Harvey Grimm is lying on the ground. And you mentioned her name. Do I recognize her as Dominique?
You did, yes, yeah. Also, it would make sense to you that the only person Harvey would be like actively trying to save would be her.
Yeah, that counts as well. That matters. So, I think I would. I would have the rifle kind of like slung around my shoulder so that I can raise it and lower it. And so I would just release it and let it hang in front of me, hands up, and say,
I'm not going to stand in your way. I'm here to rescue him. I'm here to rescue Harvey Grimm.
And then, so she smiles literally wolfishly and just says,
"A kindred with a heart. That's a new one for me. He is a good man. Take care of him."
And she touches him almost tenderly. And she just says,
"He cares where few others do."
and then she bolts off into the woods. Iris, you and Lily are standing over Seth, whose head exploded from a high-powered rifle round. And Lily's like, okay, so we're going to probably need to do this privately because I don't necessarily know that everyone else will be super cool with this.
Well,
I've got some abilities in place. I'll be able to move up as you suggest, but we really can't just kind of drag him back or call the bartenders to come get him. So we should probably move him somewhere a bit safer.
sure. Unless you think, I mean, I've seen a couple of the naked prey running around with weapons. They've been a bit busy tonight, so there's
Even
reasonable
so,
doubt.
I think spiritually, for me to fully absorb his energy, I think I need to do this in private.
Okay.
So that's fine, but also I agree. It's the prey are not meant to have, and that's when the werewolf bursts through the trees. So Iris, you and Lily are currently standing over a body, but you are definitely looking like all the people who are hunting people, and this werewolf is rushing directly for you. You were not informed by your sire about any of this because he's not a cool Camarilla guy. What do you do?
I mean, I'm probably gonna try to vampire out if I can, but I'm not very strong.
All right.
It's probably
So the thing-
I feel like it's probably an uncontrollable instinct at this point.
Yep,
Like
that's totally fair.
there's a werewolf rushing at me, and I got nothing but a crossbow I can't shoot.
I will also say there is so much blood in the woods right now. Like this is, it's like you haven't eaten in weeks, and you're at the Mandarin. There's just tasty food smells everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, so if you're gonna vamp out, I think we could say you take a voluntary frenzy. It's called riding the wave, which I think is very funny. But it's where the urges you've been feeling towards all the stench of blood and all the like just the smell of humanity around you, you just, rather than fighting it, you succumb and throw yourself at the werewolf. One thing worth noting is even if you're not very strong, vampires can make bite attacks with your fangs. Because you may not be naturally strong, but you do have a mouthful of razor blades. So let me just look up the rules on that.
And like, it's not like I know where Everett or Ridley is.
No, you've got really no
other option.
Yeah, no, this makes perfect sense to me. Okay. 1 second, please. Let me just look this up. Everett, I assume you would just be helping Harvey up at this point, right? Like you're
At this
you're
point,
just not
yes,
really
it sounds,
paying
things are
paying
happening
attention
pretty
much else? Yeah,
fast.
okay, great. So
Yeah.
I think what we'll say then is that kind of the end of your scene is like getting Harvey up, and he looks at you and like he's obviously very pale from the blood loss, and he's like naked and like no shame, just tired and pretty hurt, and he's just like, oh, thank God, you know, I knew you'd come for me, Everett, or should I say Dracula, and realizing that your conversation with Dominique has revealed your nature to your partner, you begin to drag Harvey out through the woods. Bite attacks. So, yes, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is good news for you, Miles. Regardless of the number of successes rolled, Vampire Fangs do 2 points of damage with a win on the brawl roll.
Yeah, but I don't got any brawl.
But you got frenzy.
Rare. So we'll say Fury Frenzy probably rather than Hunger Frenzy. Okay, so Miles, go ahead and we're gonna say.
I mean, I might die, guys.
It's possible. You've got. So what do you have for strength?
What do you mean? What do I have for strength?
On your sheet,
one.
how many pibs do you have?
One.
One? Okay, so you got 1 for strength. Do you have 0 for brawl?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you 3 for the frenzy. That said, all 3 of those are going to be hunger dice.
Okay. So that means I'd have.
You have 4 dice.
And all of
realistically,
them.
they'll all be
they're
hunger.
all hunger
yeah.
then. Because I have 1 hunger, so that 1 that I have for strength will be hunger, and then those other 3.
That is correct.
You've unleashed the nightmare.
That sounds like frenzy to me.
Okay.
Werewolf fight. Werewolf fight.
You and Ridley are going to have so much in common soon.
2 successes.
2 successes. All right. Well, fuck, man. That's what the vamp teeth will do. Okay. So, where is... Okay. So, the werewolf leaps at the 2 of you. You just shove Lily to the ground. Not because you're trying to save her, but you just need her out of the fucking way. And giving into your primal instincts, you bare your teeth. And with just all of the rage about all of this, about Emily losing an arm, about becoming a fucking vampire, about goddamn Iggy, about your sire, and all of this bullshit, you just leap full on at this wolf and just sink your teeth into her chest. And she's going to take a swing at you with a big meaty paw. You deal... sorry, you said you had 2 successes? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you deal a significant amount of damage. She is still up, but you get the sense like she like whimpers in pain as you do it, and then she's going to take an attack at you. All right. So, that would normally hit, but I'm going to use your frenzy score, so it does not. She misses. Go ahead and roll again, please, Miles.
The same 4?
Yeah. Ridley, you are barreling through the trees with the brains of influencers on your fingers. I think having lost your Morty at this point.
Oh, yeah, Morty's dead.
And you see Iris, like, basically wrestling a werewolf.
Great. Then it's just full-on miniature freight train into the side of the werewolf.
All right.
This is a full, like, wrestling tackle. I just want to get fingers into its eyes and then get the eyes out.
Gotcha. All right. So, Miles, what did you get from your...
2 successes again.
Damn. All right. So at this point, you're just like viciously biting into her. Can you describe rather, what this looks like as the Iris that you imagine, like when she goes fucking feral vampire? What does this look like?
Yeah, I feel like she's got her hands around the werewolf's throat while like trying to burrow it towards, like using her teeth to burrow towards the werewolf's heart.
Oh shit! All right, yeah, that's cool.
She's gone. She's lost it. She just like maximum effect.
Fully understand. So your teeth are crashing against rib cage right now. You can feel the wounds that you're inflicting starting to mend as you're doing it. There's a sickening moment where the werewolf's muscles begin to like form around your tooth, and like you actually feel it almost like the same way a tree grows around something. Like it's healing up so rapidly that for a hot second your tooth is like just fully enmeshed in werewolf flesh, which I think just triggers your general disgust, as your face is also telling me. So there's also just the sense of Iris being like, ew, no, fuck off. So you just start gnashing harder. Ridley, you come barreling into this wolf. Go ahead and roll, please.
Yeah, I was going to say, seeing how fast it's healing, the goal would be like leap up for the head, and then I just want to try to pull the head off the torso. There's got to be a way to separate it.
Oh my god.
Cool. So go ahead and roll for me, sir.
That is 3 successes.
Okay. And what's your damage? What's your damage?
How do I calculate that for an unarmed attack, Tom?
I think for your skill, it should say. If it doesn't, that's fine too. But if you're unarmed, all right, that's cool. Then I will just mark some damage.
Because I don't. Yeah.
So sorry. The special ability is you do aggravated, not superficial. Is that correct?
Against mortals, so I might just be throwing down traditional style with a werewolf.
That's fair. Yep. Okay. Great. Okay. So you start pulling. You're just at this point, like Iris, you actually feel the impact of this, and you look up and you see Ridley just like with dirt smeared on his face.
Oh, thank
just
God.
Grab either side of the head and start
soaked
pulling.
in blood.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks like fucking Brando coming out of the water in Apocalypse Now, and it just starts pulling on the werewolf's head. It's up to you, Iris.
Picture me on the back. I've got both of my heels in like the small of its back, and the fingers are just under the jaw, and I'm just pulling full body away from you with the head.
Iris, you feel the rib crack, and you can see the pulse of a heart. You just hear the werewolf snarl, like, "Treacherous kindred scum!" Go ahead and roll.
My 4 again.
I'm going to make it 5 this time as the frenzy grows.
Another hunger.
The fire rises. Yes.
Yeah.
All hunger. All hunger all the time, my friend.
I hate that I'm not here to stop this.
There's no stopping us.
You're keeping Harvey alive.
Took care of my friend. She's justified in transforming and going sick house on these billionaires, and I'm unwittingly.
She's trying to kill. She's just straight up trying to kill me. What the fuck is supposed to talk her down?
I know. But that's for me to do, right? Like,
don't worry, he's not here. The moral quandary is going to happen somewhere else in the woods later. Right now, you and I are having the best fucking time.
I just have to sit here.
3
and listen,
successes.
Fuck. Oh my god, she's dead.
You feel her ribcage give way as you plunge your head into her chest cavity, close your fangs around her still beating heart, and tear it out of her chest, falling away with the still beating organ clutched between your jaws, as it just continues to fucking pump blood all over you. You hear the werewolf just howl in fury and pain and stumble backward. Ridley, you go with it, and when you hit the ground, in like wrestling grapple terms, you just sling your legs over the neck and shoulders, squeeze, and fucking pull as hard as you can. And it's a full body stretch But sure enough, that wolf's head comes off. It does the spinal cord doesn't quite separate the way you'd hoped it would. So it's still like awkwardly dangling off. But this is one fucking dead werewolf. Miles, you can reduce your hunger to 0.
Thank you.
But here's the challenge. Soaked now in blood. Also, like, feel free to paint a picture for me in terms of how you're standing. Like, are you like dropped into like a feral, like, low thing, or is your feral like tall and regal?
Tall
Like,
and regal.
Tall and regal. All right. So real spooky, like Galadriel put on the ring, row. You just see the pulse of a heartbeat nearby, and you stride towards it. Go ahead and roll to resist the frenzy. This is going to be a willpower based. Sorry, I dropped my book. 1 sec.
Oh.
Willpower based.
I don't know if
we
we've
have
used,
not had to
willpower.
resist frenzy
Okay.
to date. So give me 1 second to make sure I've got the rule correct. Okay.
Ridley does not even notice this as a moral quandary because he just sees another hunter about to get eaten, and he's just pumped. He's like, "Oh yeah, you fucking get her!" So cool. And then he looks
All right.
at the head and he's like, "You're going above the fucking fireplace at a bar."
What? How many willpower points do you have right now, Miles?
5.
5. And what is your humanity?
7.
7. All right. So you get to add 1/3 of your humanity rounded down. So if that's 7, 2. So 5. So 7. You get to roll 7 dice to resist your frenzy.
Any of them hunger dice?
No, because you've
Right.
slaked your thirst. However, before you roll this, I do want to ask a question. Given that this is the first time that Iris has given in to frenzy, and she's not particularly trained as a vampire, do you think she would actually have the wherewithal to try and resist this? Or do you think, given that she leaned into this to protect herself, that this is just who she is right now?
I think she still has enough of her humanity left that she would try.
Okay, cool. I buy that. So go ahead and roll, please.
Four successes.
You stand over Lily, who just like fires a crossbow bolt into your
God
chest
damn it.
that you just smack away. Like it sticks in your chest and you just crack it off. And you stand over her for a moment. And then you spit out the heart. You stare her down, and slowly recognizing that you don't want to become as much a monster as these people, you calm yourself. But she's looking up at you with abject terror. What do you say?
I'm sorry, but I had to save us.
She just nods quietly, and then offers up the crossbow, and she says, "Thank you, sponsor."
Shit.
And with that, the crew fades off into the night. Ridley, you bring the head back to the bar with you.
Yeah, and we'll have to bring this fucking Lily lady because this is a fucking train wreck. She
Yeah.
knows about werewolves and us.
So you bring her with you as well. I assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, neither of you would stay to mop up the rest of this, right? You're just going to let the rest of this happen? Now there are
Well,
like actively werewolves running through the trees and murdering
Well,
people.
yeah, they're murdering people. Because I was gonna say, like, if they get this, is the thought that the werewolves are gonna sweep all of this up? Because like, if it gets under control and we're not there, and our bodies aren't there,
Odds are this is going to be a massacre one way or another. I would say based on who you guys are at this point and your status in the world and what you've seen, I think the coterie would run because this is too big. And this isn't like a masquerade breach anymore. This is like there's been a masquerade breach with Grimm and with Lily. Mm-hmm. But the rest of this, you actually don't know who's going to come out on top.
Yeah.
Either all the humans are going to win and kill all the werewolves, or the werewolves are going to win and kill all the humans. And quite frankly, either way, the two of you can't really affect that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think on the way out, Ridley would make calls to like the people that he left burner phones with, telling them to like bug the fuck out and head towards the car, wherever their vehicle is. And then he'd probably, on the way past the house, just shoot a bunch of guns through the windows to get, not at anyone, but just to spook the staff into running.
Okay, cool.
I feel like he'd ask Iris on the way, just be like, "Oh, sorry, fucking bartenders, did I know, or did I just suck?"
So the good news is I rolled to see what percentage of the innocent people get away. With the amount of chaos that's occurred with your calls and with the blind fire into the building, approximately 70% of the non-LGS people make it out, including a very happy kangaroo who now haunts the woods around Montreal. So
The kangaroo's fucked come winter.
yeah, but I mean for now.
Oh, no, not when we send the Bouchards to look after it. Got to get out in the woods. Kangaroos love syrup.
So with a werewolf head happily in your lap, a terrified real estate agent wedged between you, and a blood-soaked poet laureate, former poet laureate, you pack. I assume you got to just get in Everett's car. I think. I don't think you're soaked in blood. I don't think there's any calling anyone,
No.
except Everett. Maybe you would have booked it for the hospital. I assume. With what would your tactic have been as soon as you got Harvey into the car?
It was going to be to call and let them know that there are werewolves in the woods and to get out. I've got the Bluetooth headset.
Yeah, we fucking know. We're on our way to the fucking car. Side note, masquerade breach, kind of bringing a lady. Not a problem. All going well. Also, I killed a werewolf. I've got his fucking head.
Oh no.
And with that, the coterie reconvenes in the car. Everett, you look at the very familiar werewolf head.
No, I recognize her.
I tore her heart out with my teeth.
I'm so fucking proud of you. That was really great. And then I'll rip its head off, and now we can put it up in a bar, and the vampires will know not to fuck with us.
Guys, this is my first kill.
I'm so
Everett is
proud of you. I'm going to get you a fucking necklace. We're going to get you something really fucking nice, because I've got about $100,000 we could spend to celebrate.
I'm feeling really amped, guys.
Let's all do drugs.
And then Lily reaches out her hand. She's like, "And I'm Lily." And with that, the coterie packs into the car. Everett, you just stare straight ahead, put it into gear, and with Harvey kind of like smiling at you, being like, "Don't worry, partner. It's all going to be all right."
No, Harv. It is not.
And with that, the coterie takes off into the night.